Good evening, everyone. This is the September 21st meeting of the Marquette City Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Welcome, everyone. This is our second live streamed meeting, so we're still getting used to it. If we have any votes today, we'll be doing a hand vote for ayes and nays. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. John, are you ready to take minutes?
I am.
Okay, great. I'm going to skip roll call, but it looks like everyone but Alex Tizio is here for the meeting. And I'd like to welcome Sarah Bixby. Sarah is our newest member. Thanks for joining, Sarah.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I think we just had kind of a, didn't we have some sort of passing conversation? Was that last year?
Yeah, it was after you showed up and I showed up at the downtown at the courthouse, and the students had just presented.
Oh yes, it was. Yeah, it was a city commission meeting.
Yeah,
so that's how that works, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda? Okay, seeing heads shake. I'd like to call for a motion to approve today's agenda.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Great. From Matt. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, seeing all hands, none opposed, motion passes. On to approval of the minutes from our last meeting in July on the 20th. Did everyone have a chance to review those minutes?
Yep.
Okay. Any additions or deletions? Okay, not hearing from anyone. So then I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes from July 20th.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Matt, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Nathan, thank you. Second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Great. I see all hands raised. Motion passes. Moving to announcements. Has anyone got any announcements? Okay. Next item on the agenda is presentations. I don't see anyone on the agenda for presentations. Andrew, anyone last minute?
Nope.
Okay, great. We are now to the public comment section. Has anyone logged in for a question?
Nope. Nothing in my email either, but we're good to go. Okay,
great. Okay, let's move to old business. The first and only item on the agenda under old business is membership. As you all know, or most of you know, we've been working to get our board completed, our board roster completed. We have one more person to get onto our board, has to be nominated by the Marquette Public Schools Superintendent. And so as they work through getting their fall semester started, I think it would be smart to give them a few weeks before we start bugging them, namely I start bugging them about anyone that they might want to nominate. So until we hear from them, we will be short one member. We do need to vote on officers, however. In order for this board to function well, we need to have a vice chair and 2 co-secretaries. The idea behind the co-secretary job for 2 people is that it allows people who can't make the meeting to nonetheless be spelled by the other person who can hopefully make the meeting. This worked well in past iterations of the board, and so we'd like to keep going with that. John, you are currently our only secretary. Are you willing to continue with that job?
Yes, yeah, I'll continue with that if so willing, if
Great,
everybody wants
okay.
that.
Anyone else want to step in and help him?
I don't mind.
If he can't make it, I can help him out.
Okay. Matt and Lee, you got to duke it out.
That's okay. If Matt wants to do it, he can do it too. I just don't want to be done.
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave
Does not-
anybody behind dry.
I was gonna say, does not matter to me. I don't mind typing up minutes. For the
Okay.
Okay.
meeting.
That's good.
I'll take it. I know
Right?
you've got
You
got
spoke
more to do in
first.
junior hockey too, so
Like it's-
I can do
Okay,
that.
great. All right, so we have John and Matt as our co-secretaries. Andrew, I don't remember, do we need to vote on this?
Motion, I think we need a motion or approved,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, from someone who is not nominated as, or has stepped up to, so in other words, John and Matt, please don't motion first or second the motion, but I need a motion to approve reapprove John Sanderger and motion and to approve Matt Luce as our co-secretaries for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
I'll put in a motion to
Thanks,
approve John
Leah.
and no problem.
Great, second?
Second.
All right, Jim. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Great.
supposed to
Any
in
board
this round?
members? We'll go with it. Looks like everyone said yes, so the motion passes. Okay, so the idea is that the two of you will talk with each other prior to meetings to make sure that one of you can make it. Basically, how we've been working it is we've been taking a Word document from the agenda and typing in the information as we move down the agenda. It's pretty fast if you have a laptop and can bring that to the meeting. Sometimes you can have the meetings minutes done almost before you get home or just after you get home. So it's a pretty quick way to do it.
Perfect.
So now we move on to vice chair. The role of vice chair would be to run meetings in my absence. So we have 4 people left, and Sarah, I think we should give you a bye since this is your very first meeting.
Thank
Unless
you.
you want to step in, you can.
Uh,
Anyone want to step up? Anyone? No, Jim? Nathan, Leah? It's super easy. It's not a big deal. You just say what's on the agenda. I can give you a little coaching if you want.
If nobody else wants to, I can. As long as you're just
Alright.
never absent, right?
Pardon?
Is it as
So I would just let you know if I couldn't make it and then you would step in.
yeah, that's okay.
Okay, Leah, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I'll check in with you after the meeting and we'll talk about it. But in the meantime, we need a motion from someone other than Leah to approve her as vice chair of PRAB.
I'll make that motion.
Who made
Thanks,
that?
Matt.
Matt?
John is
I
the
did.
second.
I'll
Who
second.
did second? Nathan?
I'll second.
Okay, John, did you have a concern?
No, I just wanted to know who made the motion. Got it, it was Matt.
Matt.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you.
All right, all those in favor, raise your hand. Great, looks like a unanimous approval. Motion passes. Okay, on to new business. Andrew's gonna step in. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm sorry. I just totally jumped that. We've actually finished the board elections under new business. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry.
Get pretty rusty here. Okay, we're gonna move to the Dark Sky Park. Andrew, will you like to give us a little update?
Sure, I'll tee it off. Yeah, no worries. We're what, third, fourth meeting of the year? And it's
Yes.
September, yeah. Okay, so the story behind Dark Sky Park, initially this was a trial that was brought to us by Marquette Astronomical Society that was started out at Presque Isle Park. There was multitude of issues, mostly operational and safety, that we had to kind of consider. Ultimately, PIPAC and the City Commission did approve of a plan for a trial out of Presque Isle Park. Since then, some developments have come up, mostly stemming from issues of after-hours trespassing, people in parts of the park they shouldn't be, beyond park hours, vandalism, property destruction. Plus, we're just generally concerned about the overall safety, especially being on that west side where the cliffs can be. So one of the options that we were looking at was Coffin Sports Complex. Now, initially, this was a hard no from Marquette Astronomical Society because of the smokestacks and the light pollution. However, the smokestacks are now gone, and the power plant will also be further demolished, and light pollution is actually quite minimal. I myself personally have seen the northern lights at Coffin Sports Complex on multiple occasions. Even with the light pollution and everything that's going on, I truly tried to avoid Presque Isle Park at all costs when Northern Lights events were coming. So what Market Astronomical Society and PIPAC would like to see is a year-round permanent dark sky park. So what that would entail is essentially allowing people to go to Coffin Sports Complex and view the night sky after hours. Parks generally do close at 11 o'clock in summer and 8 p.m. in the winter. Essentially with this dark sky park, we would be opening this up for all night viewing. We'd be shutting off the parking lot lights and allowing for people to basically congregate in the parking lot. There's some groups that are also associated with this. Peter Wright Public Library does loan out telescopes through Market Astronomical Society, and there's also a couple of interpretive groups that do host night viewing activities. So this is all something that should be discussed. It's nothing that has to be decided tonight. There's obviously some things, stipulations that maybe Prab wants to put in place. Maybe even just setting basic hours or kind of formulating how they want to see this approach with like maybe a safety plan on the city and how we want to approach operations with it. So we're open to feedback, open to discussion, and I'll leave the floor to you guys.
Okay, does anyone have some immediate questions or concerns about this idea?
I guess I'd like to just speak in support. I'm disappointed that Presque Isle didn't work because it does have great northern darkness. I hadn't heard about the vandalism. I always think people should be allowed to do stupid things. So if people fall off cliffs, that's, you know, we should allow that. But I'm all for Coffin, and I think it's probably the second best place. I am a member of the Astronomical Society and do have a telescope and do like to go to places that have a good horizon. So it seems like a good location for this, and I don't see any problems with it and do hope that we support this.
Thanks, John. I have one observation. So is this going to require that staff manually turn off the lights every night, or will you have a timer? How will that work?
This should be on our light control system where it can actually be controlled on a computer.
Great.
We can actually set it through a schedule.
Okay.
So what I would like to see is that once dusk starts, especially like this time of year, and there's still kids out practicing, that the lights do come on just for safety. And but at a certain point, like maybe let's say 10 o'clock, the lights turn off, and they turn off for the rest of the night until, I don't know, maybe 6 in the morning. But essentially what we'd like to do is look at some practices, kind of like what Headlands International Dark Sky Park does in the Lower Peninsula in Emmett County. They are one of the only in Michigan, I believe, and they just generally have, the park is just generally open to the public. They do have some lit trails. They're not uplighting, it's downlighting, and it essentially allows people to get to the beach so they can look out to the north. With Coffin Sports Complex, we've tried to contain people at least to the parking lot. And also we would just look at just keeping the lights off from certain times depending on the time of year. I think we have dusk to dawn sensors on some of those lights too, though, so that might help with our scheduling.
So are those lights on generally overnight?
Yes.
Okay, so in this case, the lights would just be coming on to accommodate youth practice in the evening.
Yeah.
But otherwise they'll now be off.
Yeah.
Would there be any concern as far as light pollution from Jacob Eddy or from the northern campus just bleeding over into Coffin? Like, would this be something that would have to get collaborated with them to turn off parking lot lights or lights around Jacob Eddy to just make the park usable in that sense?
I don't think so. What I've noticed with Jacob Betty is that there is a lot of trees along the parking lot there, and it does tend to block a lot of the lighting. And their lighting is generally not too bad as it is. It was more of the power plant that was the issue. I do know that Marquette Astronomical Society has actually been using Coffin on occasion lately. Their complaint is just the parking lot lights. They haven't said anything about Jacob Betty.
Okay.
How about bathrooms? Will those be open or and available for attendees?
So that is a great question. That is something I need to talk with Public Works about. I'd like to see if we could have those bathrooms open during the summer months, 24 hours. I think they generally are. But during the winter months, those are not winterized bathrooms. So we either A, have to put out a porta potty, or just tell people to make sure they go before they come.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from anyone?
Do we need a motion on this to support this?
We do.
Yeah, I would move that we recommend the city commission to designate Kaufman as a dark sky park.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
So that was Matt. So John first and Matt second. Andrew, is that a motion that is acceptable for the city commission?
Yep. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to confirm with Public Works and police departments some operational type things. And then once that happens, I'll just update the board and I'll send it to my director to write up a recommendation to the city commission for this dark sky park.
So in the meantime, we have a motion on the table to recommend, to lend support to this idea and recommend that the city commission approve. So we can take a vote now. All of those in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, unanimous approval, motion passes. So the next section is the director's report. The idea that we have now on the table and have had since the beginning of the year, except we've only had 3 meetings prior to today, is that we get the director's report in advance of the meeting and we read through Andrew's update. If we have questions about any of the information that he's passed along to us, we can address it now. And so probably the best plan is for us to go through the list and see if anyone has anything to mention by order of appearance on the agenda. Any comments about the grants update? Project update. Marina update. Lakeview Arena and Hockeyville. I have a question.
Yes.
So how will operations be different exactly in terms of COVID precautions for the hockey season? Is it somewhat of a dialed back season, or
We're moving
how's that going to work?
ahead, but we will have some regulations in place in accordance with the executive orders, as well as Michigan Amateur Hockey Association and the MHSAA. So that essentially requires social distancing, limitations on capacity in the building. So players more than likely will be what we call home dressing. They'll be wearing their equipment and bringing it and putting their skates on when they get to the rink. On top of that, when they're in the facility, they will need to wear a mask at all times, and that includes on the ice. So that's essentially how we're moving forward. Our staff will be doing additional cleaning, monitoring of people in the facility. A lot of that too will be junior hockey, kind of taking control of that and doing a lot of self-monitoring and coaches and making sure that kids are following everything. And so another thing that kind of ties in really well with this is we signed a contract with Live Barn. What they do is they provide a live streaming service that people can pay to access. So if, let's say, grandma and grandpa are not ready to come to the rink, or there's too much people at the rink capacity wise, we're going to encourage people to use the live barn so they can watch their kids skate instead of actually coming to the rink in person. So that's a great opportunity for a lot of users. I got a feeling that we're going to have a lot less people in this facility this year, and that's just kind of the way it is.
Okay. I agree.
With the home dressing setup, are you guys going to have the locker room shut down? Or are you going to keep them available for some teams, say they're coming from a distance and don't want to have their kids get dressed in Ontonagon or the Sioux and then make the drive over?
Yeah, so that's kind of a really tough situation. We do have to keep the locker rooms closed. So when the kids that are coming, like let's say from the Sioux or Esky or Copper Country, we will have some dressing areas for them, kind of more out in the open. They'll be controlled. We're going to try and set up some privacy screens as well. We might have some locker rooms available just to kind of let some people in, especially like goaltenders, where they can't wear their equipment to the rink. We'll probably make just a few exceptions here and there, just something so we can control it and make sure that we're able to do the daily cleaning that needs to be done to ensure that there's no outbreak here.
And they are getting dressed in the parking lot at the Berry. Like the 18U team had 2 games yesterday and it worked just fine.
Yeah.
And those are 18-year-olds dressing in the, I mean, they came from the Copper Country and they do it. I mean, it's inconvenience, but it's what we have to do. So
It'll probably be more of an inconvenience when it gets really cold out.
right,
Yes.
right. So, but
I skated a few times this summer and it definitely worked out in the parking lot. I would dress at home, but I have to say it's interesting wearing hockey equipment and driving.
Yeah.
Probably not the safest thing actually. And then I actually saw on a few occasions where someone brought their enclosed trailer, like their own personal locker room. But a lot of the guys I was skating with, they were home dressing and they were putting the rest of the stuff on in the beds of their truck, and then they would walk in with their mask, put their skates on, and then go out on the ice. Haven't had any issues. No, there hasn't been any reports of any outbreaks related to hockey, especially in Marquette. So it's been pretty quiet, pretty controlled, and everyone's pretty understanding. I think people just want to get on the ice.
Speaking of it, I think I saw in the press release it looked like, at least initially, Lakeview's not intending on having any sort of drop-in or public skate. Is that gonna be reconsidered?
Yes. Yeah, at some point, we will be reconsidering that. We said we're suspending it indefinitely, and that just basically means we will evaluate our options as things progress. I would like to open up open skate, especially drop-in hockey, as soon as possible, just because there's a huge demand for people who want ice and want to skate. Those drop-ins are a great avenue for people to come in and skate, especially the late night ones.
Yeah, I've been growing this hair for it, so I kind of was really bummed when I saw that wasn't going to happen. I did have, kind of keeping on the Lakeview topic, I had a conversation in passing with Kevin Thompson about the men's league.
Yes.
And it looks like he's inclined to relinquish management of it, and he inquired on back in the day when the city ran leagues and things like that, and he said, "Oh, I know you're on the board, would you bring it to them and see if this is something that would the city be interested in taking over the men's league and running it?" Do you know anything about that, if that would be something that would be an idea? It seems like it could be a revenue option. I know he says it's about I think the finances they collect is about $4,000 per team.
Yep.
Considering most of that's probably to cover ice, and it's the city's ice, there might be an opportunity for something. But then again, we're also talking about restricting ice use. So
yeah, KT's always got his hands full. I talked to him and a few other people over the years. Craig Roberts was another one running the men's league, and they talked about the city potentially taking on it as a program. Essentially, when I've discussed it with my superiors, they said, we're already stretched thin. We do not want to take on any more programming. Anything else on our plate, really, we're stretched thin as it is. I have experience running men's league. I did it at my old rink. I think it could be done pretty easily. We would just need to ensure that players pay up front, because in the way it goes now, sometimes KT is chasing players down with even 2 weeks left in the season, and he doesn't have time for that. So, and again, I'm not even sure what the deal is and when they're expecting to play, but they're talking about delaying until November even with the mask ordinance. So
Yeah.
I know that they gave up their ice at the Berry until December now. So they're pushing it back pretty far.
I can't wait
So,
that long
Andrew-
to skate.
Andrew,
Yeah,
the
you think
city
the drop-in is going to start sooner, probably in October?
I would hope at least sometime in November. It really depends on case numbers. It depends on the societal atmosphere around how people are responsible with COVID. And if we have a large case increase, or if numbers stay consistent, we probably won't anytime soon. But if we see a significant drop off, or there's even talks of a vaccine, then it's something that we definitely would reconsider.
who makes that call?
That'll be multiple individuals making that call. Ultimately, it'll be my director, John, but Mike Anderson, the rink manager, and myself will be involved in that. We'll be advising the city manager as well as the city commission, just to kind of make sure we're giving everyone the facts, easing everyone's minds, and then go forward with discussions from there, and ultimately a decision.
Okay. So I just wanted to mention, I don't believe that the city runs any leagues anymore, correct?
No.
Okay. And so in the master plan, there's mention of stakeholder groups. So these are groups who we would formally call leagues, I guess. But the stakeholder groups are the soccer people, ball fields, the people who use the ball fields, the community garden, NTN, trail users, etc. And so that the intention is for those groups to self-organize and then collaborate with the city in the use of the city's property for their sports.
Yeah.
So it looks like the men's adult league will have to find, would be considered a stakeholder group, and looks like they'll have to find someone else.
Yeah. Someone else to run it.
Yeah. Okay, one last thing, the Lakeview Arena was supporting the Room at the Inn clients this summer. And so that group has recently gone back to Room at the Inn. It's a handful of churches in the community.
Yep.
And so how was the turnover for Lakeview from that use back to regular operations?
Well, we did get them out in a timely fashion.
Okay.
We did have to hire some professional cleaning crews to come in to sanitize every surface. There's still some cleanup left to do, and we need to do some pretty thorough inspections through the spaces to make sure that there's nothing that anyone could get hurt on, and especially with the kids coming in. So we are going to make sure that the facility is absolutely safe before we proceed with any hockey in here. So there's still some work to do, but we are starting to make ice already. We actually have water on both floors right now. Yeah, it's moving forward. We just have a little bit more cleanup to do.
Okay, great. Well, that was really a wonderful collaboration, I guess, this summer, trying to step in and fill some gaps when COVID hit and that community needed some extra help. So thanks to staff.
I would say the community is really blessed for what the city did there. I chair the Room at the Inn board of directors, so I'm involved on the other side. And I think the fact that the city and the parks and recs folks were able to make that work is really a wonderful thing. I don't know what we would have done otherwise.
Okay, anyone got anything concerning Founders Landing piling reuse project? How about ORV? None? Anyone have anything in conjunction? Oh, I'm sorry, I did it again. I skipped Tourist Park. Anybody got anything about Tourist Park that they want to weigh in on? Okay, I do have one question. Will Dog Park be going through this fall? Will it be set up and usable for folks?
Yeah, we are planning on with that as scheduled.
Okay,
We will still have some basic ground rules for everyone, like mask and everything. So
okay, great,
that'll be communicated with that group.
wonderful. Okay, and lastly, we have ball fields on the agenda. Anything to note there? Okay, this is actually technically, my comment is actually technically under the project update, but I wanted to check in with the Hurley Field Playground. Andrew and I talked about it a little bit before the meeting got started. Looks like the Parks and Rec folks are good, and Public Works will need to push that off into the spring if the snow flies before they can get the closure of the rest of the parks done. We have a lot of people in the community and foundations in the community who have supported funding the in-kind match for a lot of our projects. We're really lucky, very, very fortunate to have so much support from our community members and our service clubs. And this is one. So looks like next spring is the go date, hopefully the go date for this Hurley Field project, correct?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so the next meeting is going to be taking place in October. And I gotta look up the date. Do you have it, Andrew?
I believe it's the 19th.
19th. Okay. So we'll be reconvening on the 19th via Zoom. Andrew and Kim will be sending out information the week before. And I would ask everyone, if you can please, to RSVP to Kim and Andrew to let them know. What we want to avoid is having a last minute scramble for quorum, and it does set us back and the city commission back when we can't vote on items that come before us. So that's pretty important. And so next month we'll have either Matt or John taking the minutes, and Leah will be taking notes on my skipping items on the agenda and running back to them later. But otherwise, I think we're done with the meeting. Are there any comments for the good of the order?
Yes, I thought, and I see we don't have it on the agenda, good of the order. And I'm not sure if there is a requirement on this, but I think there probably is. As you may know, and I would ask for your support, and I am endorsed by the local labor council, but I'm running for the Board of Light and Power. And I expect if I'm elected, I may need to step down, and you may have knowledge on that. Can you be on an elected board and also on one of the advisory boards? Anybody?
No, so that was something with Evan. Evan was elected to city commission, and he needed to step down from PRAB.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And so I have been on the board before and have chaired that board, and I think it's a good working board and good activities. So I feel well suited for it and would ask for your support, but I may need to step down if elected.
Thanks for letting us know, John. Maybe you can, maybe we can get Carrie Gottlieb back on the board.
Yeah, I'll lean on Carrie. I know he's trying to decrease his charity boards too.
Oh, he always says that.
I know.
Okay. If there are no other comments, then I'd like to hear a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Thanks, John. Jim, sorry. First, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Matt. Okay. Everybody in agreement from ending the meeting, please raise your hand. All right. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Meeting is adjourned at 6:05.
I have one question, Ellen. Can you and I stay on the line